And what about the man who will face the governor in that debate, the president? He was making a case today, but before a world audience of allies and adversaries at the United Nations. He gave a passionate tribute to the U.S. ambassador killed in Libya and called on the room to make a united stand against extremism. Here's ABC's Jake Tapper.
President Obama made the focus of his United Nations address about a man who wasn't there.
I would like to begin today by telling you about an American named Chris Stevens.
With a tribute to the U.S. ambassador to Libya, who was attacked and killed in the dead of night in Benghazi 2 weeks ago today. He extolled the humanity and hope Stevens stood for.
If we are serious about these ideals, today we must reaffirm that our future will be determined by people like Chris Stevens and not by his killers.
But in many ways, the president's speech today seemed targeted at his domestic audience. Accused by Republicans of glibly downplaying the unrest in the Muslim world, the president demanded an end to the violence.
There is no speech that justifies mindless violence. There are no words that excuse the killing of innocents.
And while only days ago the White House was asking YouTube to review whether that anti-Muslim film violated the terms of use, today the president offered a full-throated defense of freedom of speech.
Like me, the majority of Americans are Christian, and yet we do not ban blasphemy against our most sacred beliefs.
That was followed by a call to stop those who fan the flames against the West and its allies.
It is time to marginalize those who use hatred of America or the West or Israel as the central organizing principle of politics.
A smaller part of today's speech was Iran's nuclear program, a continued source of frustration and tension. Despite efforts at both outreach and tough sanctions, that country has more than doubled its production rate of enriched uranium since Obama took office.
The United States will do what we must to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
At last year's UN meeting, President Obama met separately with more than a dozen world leaders, but this year he had no such meetings scheduled, prompting criticism that he's more focused this year on campaigning than governing. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton instead met with almost 20 world leaders in his place. Diane?